Hello, it's Polly. How are you doing today? I got a super cool request from Desires459. They requested that I do a video talking about my piercings. I love talking about my piercings and I don't get the chance to do it that often, so I thought that I would combine that with shave day. I need to do something with my hands when I talk, and shaving is the best thing I can do right now. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my facial piercings. And in another video, I'll talk about my ear piercings because that is also a journey. But just so you know, I do have 19 piercings. I have 5 facial piercings. I have a bunch of ear piercings and some miscellaneous piercings too. I'll talk about those on my Patreon. But I got my first facial piercing when I was in my 20s back in the early 2000s. So all of my facial piercings are in the 20-year range. I've been wearing them for 20 years. That is so cool. I just never got tired of them, so I never took them out. The first one that I got done was my lip piercing right here, this hoop. I got it pierced with a hoop in the back of like a dispensary store type of thing, and it cost me $40 to get that done back in 2002. And then next up, shortly after that, came my philtrum piercing, which is also called a Medusa. That story is really cool. I was working at the call centers in my 20s. I spent 7 years working at call centers, 4 doing telemarketing and 3 doing tech support. And in my telemarketing days, there was a woman who I was working with who knew how to do piercings. So a friend of mine threw a piercing party. If enough people came to the party and got pierced by this woman, then the host would get free piercings. And I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to get my philtrum pierced. I thought it would look so cool and symmetrical with the lip ring. So I got the philtrum pierced in the kitchen of a friend's house when I was 20 something, like 2002, 2003 maybe. And it hurt. Also, maybe don't get piercings in kitchens. But things were different back in 2002, and I was different when I was a very young Polly. I wasn't as, well, I'm smarter than I was then, but I'm still not smart about a lot of things. But anyway, the philtrum piercing, man, I did not expect that to hurt as much as it was going to hurt. It hurt like a motherfucker. It was probably the most painful piercing I've ever had. I didn't realize that there were so many nerves, but if you just pinch that little dent above your lip, that's called your philtrum. Pinch it and feel how it hurts, and then imagine someone sticking a needle through it. And then that person doing it wrong and having to do it again. And that's the story of my Medusa piercing. It took so long to heal as well. And I remember right after I got it done, a friend of mine got her Monroe done. And I thought that was such a lovely piercing, and I instantly regretted the Medusa because I thought the Monroe was just so lovely. But I'm really glad in the end that I went with the Medusa because the symmetry is so cool. And of course, after I got the Medusa, I had to even out the symmetry, so I got my bridge pierced. They say that bridge piercings reject easily, but mine is over 20 years old and still hanging in there. It was done crookedly, and after the piercer pierced it and it was all pierced, I am very Canadian and didn't want to make a deal about it being slightly crooked, so I was just like, thank you. But you can tell it's crooked, like if you can see that it is slightly crooked. But I love this piercing. It was a dream to heal, and it didn't hurt that much at all. People are always asking me if it hurt because they assume that one is the most painful piercing that I've had. But it's through the skin, not the cartilage. And if you take good care of them, they'll last you a long time. So at that point, I had those 3 piercings, and it looked so sick, the symmetry. It was just so elegant and simple. But I wanted more, so I got my snake bites done. When I had my snake bites done, I had them done with studs, and the healing process was really brutal. It took a really long time for them to heal properly. And then I went for a number of years without them, and I was surprised after like 5 years I had retired them. I decided to go back to them, and I was surprised that the holes still worked. I love the extra lip rings. Like, it is a little much because the symmetry is just so lovely. Like, the symmetry without the snake bites is really, really nice looking. But I really like having facial piercings. I really like having lip piercings. I would love to squish a couple of more lip piercings in, except I'm 42 and I don't want to deal with the healing process because my lip piercings all took so long to heal. I just don't want to deal with a long healing process. I've always liked the thought of getting my eyebrows done. I don't have eyebrows anymore though, but they could like pierce the area where the eyebrows would be, right? Yeah, something like that. If you have no eyebrows and also have eyebrow piercings, maybe hit me up and let me know about your experience with that. I never had a tongue piercing. I've had friends who had negative experiences with tongue piercings, and that kind of scared me away from getting tongue piercings. Never had my nose pierced because the philtrum piercing, I think, would just be too crowded with the nose. Um, and I guess I've always been interested in body modification and piercings and tattoos, even though I don't have many tattoos. I have 19 piercings because piercings were always cheaper. Um, and I guess I wanted the lip ring. I thought that it looked cool. I was like 20, making call center money back in 2002. And once I got the lip ring, then that started a lifelong affair with the piercings, and I would love to get more. I would just love to get more. I think that this is the end of my shave. And that's pretty much all I have to say right now about my facial piercings. Thank you so much for watching and listening to me talk. Thank you, Desires459 for requesting this topic. If you have any requests or suggestions for things you'd like to hear me talk about while I shave, just let me know in the comments or send me an inbox. I'm always open to take recommendations. So thanks so much for joining me today and have a good one.